ants. They're organised, industrious and hungry, but in the Undergrowth there's no such thing as a free lunch. Empires of the Undergrowth is a fast-paced ant colony management game developed by Slug Disco Studios. Underground, you build your nest, construct tunnels and store food. On the surface, your ants claim territory, gather resources and clash with other colonies. Head to thenakedscientist.com/Empires Game for more.
Stop raising and lowering the new podcast desk.
Isn't that good? It's going up and down.
Are we still recording? Oh, we are. Is this the optimum height?
Hang on.
Oh, really? Are you happy?
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's the Naked Gaming Podcast with me, Lee Milner. This is where you speak.
Last time I spoke and you went, no, you ruined my introduction. So I can't win with you.
Sorry. I like the new desk, though.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
We've upgraded.
It sounds like Transformers.
It's good, isn't it, though?
Stop playing with your new
It's
toy.
taken ages, though, to come.
Yeah,
How long have we been waiting for this desk?
2 months.
Yeah.
Which is why we had to record a podcast crouching in the dust.
Yes.
That was a good episode.
That was a high point in my life.
Well, last time we put out an episode of Monkey Island Discs. You can catch it right now. It's with the BBC's China media analyst, Kerry Allen.
Gaming did play a large part and have a big influence on my decision to learn Chinese.
But this month, we're all about the games.
Yeah, audio-only games. How do they work? And are they any fun?
Also, there's lots of new games for next-gen consoles. Finally, it's been a bit rubbish this year so far, but we've got Deathloop, FIFA 22, Far Cry 6, and Back 4 Blood. It's finally come out.
Don't forget Metroid Dread on the Switch.
I got the new Switch, the OLED Switch. Do you know what OLED stands for?
Go on, I'm sure you know.
I'll have to Google it. I think
I thought you had that up your sleeve.
Organic light emitting diode. So that's good, isn't it? It's a bigger screen. That's it.
It makes a bit of a noise, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, we'll get
It's
on
quite
to.
loud.
I think we should do a special episode on the new Switch. But when you plug it in to charge and the screen is on, it goes
Sounds like it's taking off.
like this desk. Here's Lee Milner, the new OLED version of Lee Milner. That's the
really?
Outstanding Legend Edition. That's you.
When did they upgrade?
I don't know, but you certainly cost a bit more money. Here's the news.
We'll be reviewing the critically acclaimed shooter Deathloop later on in the podcast. You'd think it was the #1 bestseller for the last few weeks, but not on Steam. At one point, Gas Station Simulator had more people playing the game than Deathloop. It might be because there were frame rate issues on the PC version, which have since been fixed.
Oh, you're not even trying.
In other Deathloop news, the voice of the main character, Colt, is played by Jason Kelly. Turns out he hadn't managed to get hold of a PS5 or a copy of the game. Luckily, the head of the company that published the game, Pete Hines from Bethesda, said he could arrange to send him one. Earlier this year, Microsoft acquired Bethesda, so some Xbox fans are finding this whole situation very amusing. An Xbox exclusive studio just bought someone a PS5.
I'm done playing this your way. It's the cult show from now on.
Demos are back. Sony have announced that PS5 owners like Jason Kelly will have the chance to download selected first-party titles and try them out free of charge for a limited time. The first 2 games available are Death Stranding Director's Cut and Sackboy: A Big Adventure. And as Chris mentioned, the Switch OLED has been released. It basically has a brighter screen and, well, that's about it. It's a few grams heavier and the kickstand is different, but at least it's only £50 more expensive. Currently retailing at £310.
Thank you, Lee. And we have the new Switch. We actually got it in today in the post.
Hang on, you say we? You ordered it for you?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll do this bit again. Thanks, Lee. I've got the new Switch, which has arrived today, and I'm going to review it in a special episode on my own.
Can't wait.
Stop kidding around, Snake.
Let's go on to some new releases. First thing to mention, Death Stranding Director's Cut. It's got improved visuals and performance, and you can get more items. It's got the haptic feedback in the trigger, so that's good.
I like that.
And 3D audio support, which is exciting because now we have, yes,
This has blown you away, hasn't it?
we have a surround sound.
So I'm upstairs and I can just hear Chris go, whoa! And that's because of the surround sound, is it?
Well, what's been amazing was, we'll talk about this when we review Back for Blood, but if the character's in front of you, it comes out the main speaker in your telly. But then if you sort of spin your character around, the voice comes out from the speakers behind the sofa.
Whoa!
I'm like, why are they hiding behind there?
Wow.
It's really
That's
good.
pretty cool.
But before that, our reporter, Alex Rhodes, is usually relegated to the end of the podcast to do our Simulator of the Month. Well, he's kicked off. He's gone to HR. There is no HR.
No.
And he said, please, can I do an actual game?
Wow, he's becoming a bit of a diva.
He is. The diva Alex Rhodes is going to review Far Cry 6. We'll start with the trailer and then Alex can take centre stage.
I am El Presidente, which means that someday you will be El Presidente. And our people, they do not know how to be happy. They are torn apart by opinions, noise, indecision, strangled by their own freedoms. And even if you have love in your heart, even if you want what's best for them, if you only want to save them from themselves, they will hate you, Diego. Everything you say, do, believe, will be wrong.
Hello, Chris and Lee. It's Alex here. Back again for another month. This time I'm playing Far Cry 6. I picked it up recently from a PlayStation 5. I'm on a mission at the moment to rescue this sort of guerrilla fighter. The sort of overall plot of the theme is you're in a place that definitely isn't Cuba, but definitely is Cuba, called Yara, fighting against a dictator played by Giancarlo Esposito, or Gus from Breaking Bad. Classic Far Cry affair, really. I'm accompanied as well, at the moment, by a crocodile called Guapo. One great thing about Far Cry, it's always kind of mixed that kind of silliness with, serious storytelling and things like that. It's good fun. So this dictator has basically figured out a way to cure cancer, and he reckons he's going to sort of reinstate Yara's standing in the world by selling this sort of cure, and it's made from kind of distilled tobacco somehow. I'm going to leave my crocodile here for now because he keeps setting off guards. The map's mega, as you'd expect from sort of the direction of travel which these games have been going for a long time now. There's a bit of sort of screen tearing a little bit, sort of. It drops a few frames sometimes, especially when the dictator comes on. Now, I think it might be something to do with the fact that there's so much sort of... Obviously, the budget has gone on sort of rendering that guy, old Esposito, Giancarlo Esposito. So I reckon that they've put so much effort in sort of tracking his face, it causes the game to sort of drop a few frames. Right, okay, here we go. So we're off now. There you go. So that was the sound of my mega crossbow.
We got trouble.
I'm on a horse, which is new. Oh no, I've crashed the horse. Is that the right term? Come on, jump. You can shoot your gun while riding the horse. No, take that. No one does fire quite like Ubisoft, so all the fire looks amazing. There's an early mission early on where you sort of burn down a sort of tobacco field with a flamethrower, and your character says, "Oh, that felt really familiar." And that's hinting to the fact that you do that in almost all Far Cry games. You burn some kind of field with some kind of flamethrower. And even the game is kind of aware that it's not really doing many, it's going over similar sort of beats and doing similar sort of things. So this will come down to the fact, do you like Far Cry games? If you do, you'll probably like this one, because it's more of the same. It looks good. There's a couple of tweaks here and there to make it a bit easier. One good thing, when you boot up the game, there's loads of sort of accessibility settings that you can change. If you're colorblind or anything like that, there's all sorts of settings that you can change to make it really accessible and easy to play for everyone. So that's a really great thing. One thing you have like a special attack. So if I press L1 and R1 at the moment, the weapon I've got equipped will shoot sort of missiles at the air. It will go third person for a second and shoot a load of missiles into the air that will sort of smash down on my enemies. But again, that is just kind of a different weapon more than a significant change to the kind of gameplay or the structure of the game itself. So yeah, if you like Far Cry, you'll like this game. If you were a bit sick of Far Cry when you finish Far Cry 5, then maybe you want to wait until this one drops in price. This isn't the kind of jump from, the old style of Assassin's Creed games to the new style of Assassin's Creed games. I think a few people thought that maybe that would happen with this sort of iteration of Far Cry. Maybe they would change up the formula, but no, not to be this time. Very enjoyable nonetheless, and looks great, as I say. So there you go, Chris and Lee. That's Far Cry 6.
You like Mortal Kombat, right?
I love
fighting games. I can't believe it's got a cockfighting simulator. Cockerels.
Isn't that illegal?
Yes. So that's why animal rights activists are kicking off that this is in the
I'm
game.
not surprised.
All I would say is this. Isn't it better that it's in a game form? But I suppose, is it encouraging people to want to do it if you can play it as a game? Or is it like better to have it there?
But if you had that with everything in gaming, like a lot of things.
I was going to say, you could kick off about
up.
You could kick off about the rest of Far Cry 6 because you're going around shooting people.
Exactly.
It's out now anyway. Very expensive, as Alex says, £50, and it's out on all platforms. Right, it's time to review Deathloop.
Go on then. What did you make of it?
Now it's time to review Deathloop.
I'm not falling for this.
Now because this is how the game works, right? So you go and you do your very first playthrough, okay? And you start off in your cult, and you wake up on a beach, and you go, "What happened? I've got such a bad hangover."
It's like us every morning.
It's like this morning, wasn't it?
Hang on, we in this game.
Got to let Richard the Carpenter in. Next day, got to let Richard the Carpenter in.
Go to text Jason. The plumber.
You want out of a time loop? You gotta learn how it works. Black Reef is a puzzle, and each visionary is a different piece. Here's Igor.
I am a respected scientist.
I've done so many loops, I've learned to run circles around him.
As you're running through to the first door, it says, this text pops up all around you, and it says, don't go that way, or, oh, what happened last night? Can you remember? What's the password for this door? So it comes up with all these really cool prompts on the screen, and it's a first-person shooter. You're this really powerful assassin guy, and the first thing that you discover is that you're stuck in a loop, and you keep reliving the same day again and again, and you're an assassin, and there's another one called Juliana who's trying to take you down, who's super, super angry at you, but you don't know what you did. You can't remember anything.
Man. So it's literally like when married couples go to bed and they argue and they have an argument and then they can't remember
Next
why
day,
in the morning.
repeat. Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. It's very, very much like Dishonored. It's from the same people who made Dishonored, so it's got that very cool combat. You've got a super powerful kick. You've got a machete that's ridiculous. The guns are amazing. I can't believe how good this game is. Like, it got hugely critically acclaimed reviews across the board, and I thought, it can't be that good. It is that good. It's a little bit easy because when you die, you just go back and respawn again. It gives you a few chances before you have to do the hard reset, but you've got to get it. It's so good. It's a PS5 and PC exclusive at the moment, as we heard earlier. £50. Get it. It's amazing. Okay, we've got another new review now for you, and this is a game where somebody in our household has been not letting me play the PlayStation.
I love it so much.
And has been dominating
so good.
all the playing time.
I love it.
It's called Kena Bridge of Spirits.
And it is amazing.
Something tells me you did not come to our village looking for forest creatures.
Hello, Spirit. I seek passage to the Sacred Mountain Shrine.
Our village is bound to the shrine's energy. But that power faded long ago.
So you know that I love any kind of 3D platformer. If you like Crash Bandicoot or Ratchet and Clank, then you will absolutely love this game. It's the very kind of fantasy world. You go around collecting rot, which is... It's not what you think.
It sounds really awful, the rot.
They're really cute little kind of like squidgy things that you kind of pick up, and they're really smiley, and you collect them and you have to find them through the forest. But you also come against some baddies, which is quite cool, and you've got some really cool weapons.
You've got a staff that does loads of crazy stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, and throughout the game, you kind of learn new techniques and moves, and it's just, one of those games that you can just sit down and just play.
For hours, so that I can't play.
Exactly.
How am I supposed to reveal Deathloop if you're sitting there?
But it's so beautiful as well.
It's
so
a bit like
pretty.
What film is it like? It's like a Pixar film.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And yeah, it's just a really fun game to play. And if you, as I say, if you like anything like Ratchet and Clank and Crash Bandicoot, you will absolutely love this one. I would give this probably a 9 out of 10.
Really
9 out
good.
of 10.
It's PlayStation and Microsoft Windows available if you want it now, and it's a bit cheaper than your average game. It's 33 quid-ish to buy it.
Absolute bargain.
Power up.
Now, here's our FIFA correspondent, Drew Miller-Hindman. He reviews the latest FIFA releases every year, and he's back with FIFA 22.
Finally, some would argue, a new FIFA game. After several games that have started to feel a little bit stale, with the same old gameplay and the same old engine, there's been some real changes driven off the back of the new console generation to the gameplay animations, the way that players interact with each other, and the physics of that.
Powered by Real Football, Hypermotion technology is a next-generation exclusive that revolutionizes football gameplay in every match of every mode.
A lot of these are sadly locked behind the new console generation. If anyone knows how to get a PS5, please DM me. But it is a really, really noticeable change. One of the biggest ones for me is the goalkeeper animations. Goalkeepers have felt overpowered for a long time. That is the nature of FIFA being a game. Goalkeepers need to be strong enough that it doesn't feel like you can shoot from anywhere and get a goal. But at least now it looks a bit like a human being could have made that save with the way they move and animate themselves, as opposed to just an inhuman leap from one post to the other because the system decided your shot wasn't good enough for a goal.
A brand new goalkeeper system makes your number one more reliable between the posts. With more composed shot stopping and more personality that replicates the different styles of world-class keepers.
As for actual gameplay modes, online is basically unchanged. Ultimate Team is wildly popular. Pro Clubs has its own cult following. So they've sort of left that alone, and only time will tell if the stability issues people have complained about in previous FIFAs have been improved upon. The biggest change in single player, other than Volta returning with some sort of more fun party elements, definitely one to play with friends, but maybe not one for your own, is career mode. Career mode has brought back, I guess you would say, the create a club feature, but with way more options. You can change the color of the pitch, you can choose your stadium and customize the color of your seats and the actual stadium itself. It really gives you some proper customization options. My only criticism would be the badge selection. It's not great. There are lots of them, but they're all very similar and all have EA Sports on them, which takes away a bit of the immersion. Personally, I'm a big Ted Lasso fanboy, so I've created AFC Richmond, I've created my own Ted Lasso. Facial hair wasn't there, sadly, so he's got a bit of a pathetic moustache, but I'm really enjoying it. And as you can probably hear, I'm getting really immersed in the story you can create with Create a Club, which was sort of the main appeal of career mode, is the story you can create for yourself.
The data from every touch, tackle, and sprint inspires over 4,000 new animations, raising the responsiveness, physicality, and intensity of players and teams as they move around the pitch.
So I definitely recommend picking this one up. I mean, it's finally a change, it's new. If you can get yourself immersed in the tactics of it, you can really turn your team into a dynamic, fluid squad of players. And if you've got the next generation of consoles, I cannot recommend enough picking this one up if you're a FIFA fan. If you're still on the old ones, it could still be worth it. But if you're thinking, I'm going to get the PS5 for Christmas, hold up. If you're not going to get the version that includes both of them, which you can download, hold up, wait for the new one and take full advantage of these new features, because it's definitely going to be worth it.
Thanks, Drew. Have you seen the story about FIFA?
I love this story.
Looks like FIFA 22 will be the last game in the series of that title.
You know when like a company has a tiff with another company,
Yeah.
and it's just everywhere.
It's like huge goss.
And then they put out the statement on Twitter.
It's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
FIFA wanted EA to pay $1 billion, not million, $1 billion for the use of the FIFA name. Okay, so that's more than doubling the price.
What of what they already paid?
Yeah, right. And they kind of went, yeah, how about no? They've trademarked EA Sports FC.
So that'll probably be the next game in the series. We don't know yet, but EA Sports FC, and then what, 23?
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
It doesn't, but would you pay $1 billion? It sounds like Austin Powers.
$1 billion.
We want you to pay us $1 billion. Gajillion dollars. I mean, yes, FIFA and EA have always been, synonymous with
They've
football
been the
games.
dream team, yeah.
But yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it, the dream team. But now the dream team has got a new manager.
Oh dear.
It's out now as well if you want to buy FIFA 22. It'd probably become a collector's item, the last one with that title.
Why do you think they said that? Why do you think they said $1 billion? It's silly.
Because they think they've calculated and sat down and gone, that's how much we think that they should pay us. And then EA have gone, I know that's what you think, but we don't think you add that much value.
They must be pretty confident though that this, the EA Sports FC is going to do all right.
Well, we shall watch this space, but probably the last FIFA game, FIFA 22, is out now, £50 on all platforms if you want it.
Pills here!
The time has come. Can I just review Back 4 Blood, please, forever? Don't sigh at me. I like zombies.
You've been excited about this game for ages, to be fair.
What is that? Take it out! Oh, man. This is my favorite hoodie.
A little club soda will take that right out.
Watch out!
Okay, so I played the beta test, right? I'm not really one of those people who signs up for the early access release,
Okay.
But I really was that keen. So I played the early access and I thought, this is pretty good. There's a few problems.
Why were you keen especially to play this?
My favourite game ever is probably Left 4 Dead, the first one. The sequel was pretty good, not as good, but Left 4 Dead 2. And I played it throughout university with my roommates. There's 4 of us on one Xbox 360.
Left 4 Dead you can also play in, did you know, in like arcades? Because we went to Southend recently. Did you know that you can actually play that on the arcade?
I don't know why we didn't. We played Jurassic Park arcade, that's why.
You
You overruled me, that's why.
Yeah, always.
But this one has come out, and it's essentially Left 4 Dead 3, but it's called Back 4 Blood. It's the same people who originally did it. They've improved everything from the beta version hugely. So it's actually a properly good game now.
Okay.
It's still the same problem. You can't play locally. I can't play with you and go online and play with other
Why
people.
do games do this?
I know that because it's more complicated to run and stuff like that, I sort of get it, but you've got to be able to play couch co-op with somebody, because this is a game which if you play it on your own, it doesn't work as a concept.
Yeah.
You need other people to be on your team. That's
and
how it's exciting.
I'd like to play.
Exactly.
And that's probably why, in fact, that's probably why I don't play it.
Yeah,
because
you can't.
I only like to play shooters with another person.
Exactly right. So it's one of those games which I give it an 8 out of 10, because when you're having that multiplayer online experience, it's probably one of the best experiences I've had in a very long time playing games. You've got 3 other people, everyone's trying to beat these hordes of zombies and the big special ones, and the story is much better than Left 4 Dead. There's actually a story. The characters have individual traits which they didn't used to have before. There's a card system which is very advanced, and it makes it interesting every time you play. But it doesn't have the key thing that I loved about the original, the local co-op. You can get it as part of Xbox Pass now, and you don't have to pay anything. So that's amazing. You can also pay £50 for it on the PlayStation and PC. It's out now, and like I say, it's good, but you need to be able to add that local co-op.
Did you know that there's a whole genre? You know when you say a word and it doesn't really make sense
What,
in your
genre?
head? Genre. Yeah, I
Genre.
thought, did I say it right?
Genre.
Genre of games that are 100% audio. So no visual element at all.
It's amazing that they can even make a game that you could play with no visual, because you're so used to playing games on the screen.
Actually, in fact, one was released recently called The Veil Shadow of the Crown, and it's actually been quite high profile. So you caught up with Dave Evans from Falling Squirrel, who designed the game.
When I first thought of the idea of doing this, I actually, for about a week, thought this might be a completely original idea, as many people assume, because they're not exposed to many games like this. AudioGames.net has a whole catalog of games they've been tracking, probably up to over 1,000 games, but mostly really small games made by hobbyists, simple driving games or shooting games, that sort of thing. And but my original idea was to do something quite big in a medium I thought I could afford to do it, essentially. So I'd worked in AAA, I'd work on bigger projects, and I just really wanted to do something that could focus in on things that I felt I could do well, which was narrative and working with actors. So that's really why I did the game.
And the narrative is such an important part of the game. And just give us a bit of a flavour of that as well, because I think from the title people might be able to guess that we're kind of in a fantasy world, or at least we've got kind of medieval characters and things like that. So give us a flavour of the game itself.
Yeah, it's a low fantasy medieval setting. It's a choice mostly based on me wanting to start in a familiar place for doing something very different from what I've done. And I also thought it was great for the soundscape, having a lot of noisy sounds that might mean something in combat that were up close. So medieval fighting being very much around melee combat and not shooting guns from far away. I thought that made a lot of sense for what I wanted to do with combat. You play as a blind character, a princess who's been sort of exiled by her father out into the barrens to lord over a castle, and then an invading army swoops in and pushes her out of that place, and she has to make her way back home with the help of people she meets along the way.
Why would it be my father's dying wish to send me to the Borderlands?
You, Alex, are officially home.
My lord.
What is it?
Odedan riders from the northwest.
Wait here, Alex.
Uncle? Uncle!
And I want to say very clearly, you don't have to be blind to play and seriously enjoy this game. It's really fun.
In fact, the game very initially was me wanting to do an audio game without really thinking about accessibility. Very quickly, accessibility became something that was obvious to what the game was going to be, and being all audio. And I started partnering up with people that could help me make a game who were familiar with games like this, and most importantly, were part of the blind community and could help me make a game that would satisfy some of the things that they would want to see, because I thought this would be it made a lot of sense that people within this community might be interested in this game. But in the end, it kind of went back to where I started, where I think I made a game that is as much for sighted players as it is for blind players. And I kind of made a game with the blind community for the sighted community on a certain level.
Just tell me a bit about the combat, because that's something that struck me the most. Is yes, you've got the story, but then you've actually created a system of combat where you're reacting to almost, it is audio cues, and then you have to do the right kind of parry or counter-attack or button press, essentially, in order to win in the combat. So tell us a bit about that whole system.
The combat is based around a sort of a slot system where enemies will move into places around you, where someone's either in front of you, to the left or the right. And then most of the combat is about you listening to what they're doing, what kind of enemy they are, what they might have, and then reacting or appropriately swinging out at them and kind of initiating attacks. So it's a combination, I guess, of timing your response to their attack, like blocking, and then timing your counterattacks. As the game moves on, there's some nuances to that in terms of enemies that have combos that you can kind of listen to, when to interrupt their attacks. On the higher level settings, you really have to pay attention to this, and it's something that's a little bit evocative of like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out sort of scenario, where there's a little bit of pattern recognition, and then because of my own sensibilities and wanting to make things feel kind of raw, I also made it a little more organic, and there's quite a bit of unexpected aspects to multiple enemies attacking you, so you wouldn't feel the same sort of pattern twice. You'd recognize the things you need to know from where enemies are and what you have to do, but you don't ever have to truly memorize something so it becomes automated, which is what I wanted to avoid.
How interesting is that?
I didn't know that there was so many audio-only games anyway, and that there was such a community of people that play them, and that also sighted and non-sighted gamers can play them alike.
Well, look, if anybody who's listening to us today actually plays one of these games, get in touch. Let us know how you find it. Let us know if there's anything that could be improved. Maybe we could pass on to the developers. You can get in touch the usual way.
And that was Dave Evans, who I chatted to. Falling Squirrel, The Veil Shadow of the Crown, by the way. It's out now for Xbox and PC, and it's 16 quid.
Time for my favourite part of the podcast.
That's a new jingle, everybody.
It's time for Retro Revival, and the wait is finally over for Metroid Dread.
The most powerful bounty hunter in the galaxy, Samus Aran. On her latest mission, she'll explore the inner belly of a beastly planet.
The Switch finally has an awesome game just for the Switch.
Okay.
Switch only, okay? So you've got to get a Switch to play this one. If you've ever played the Metroid games before, it's very similar. It's called a Metroidvania game. That's the genre, named after this style of game, and also Castlevania. It's a side-scrolling platforming type thing, so you're running up and down, running away from bad guys, shooting them. Have you played Metal Slug as well, where you shoot the bullets and then it goes all around you? You can aim forward, backward, anywhere you like. Shadow Complex. Those are the kind of games that this is like, of course. You've got to buy it for the Switch. It's probably one of the best games I've played, because not only do you have yours jumping around platforming, but occasionally a big boss will run at you, and instead of just you having to kill it and run away, there's like a sort of action event where it sort of, the camera changes angle to behind you, and then the boss runs at you, and then you have to press like
I like those games
thing.
when it's quite clever.
It's really, really action orientated. Yeah, and it makes you feel like you're in the game, rather than the problem with normally with these Metroidvania games is you feel like you're just looking down from outside, you're not really involved. These bring you right up close and personal. It's super, super fun. Everybody's going crazy over it. The only thing I would have said is at the beginning, they didn't spend any money setting up the game. Like, it has a load of text. It just looks like someone's typed out, like, in the missions, you're this person, and there's these Metroids and these things, and you just think, God, just put a trailer in or anything. And the other thing is it's 50 quid, right? Which is very expensive.
I'm going to say.
Because Deathloop is 50 quid,
Yeah.
and it's one of the best games I've ever played. Next generation, amazing graphics. This is like really good graphics, but it's not 50 quid's worth.
Right. So they're pushing the look a little bit.
They certainly are, but you've got to buy it just simply because it's one of the best games that the Switch has ever had.
Maybe they started on a budget and then someone gave them some money and they thought, oh, actually, we better make this quite a good game.
Well, after the text gate.
Yeah, but they've already got that in the bag, and old Steve has done them a good job, a good deal.
Don't overdo the text. Just let that roll. Let that roll. But no, get it out. It's out now. It's really good. I just want to mention Alan Wake Remastered. That's another retro revival. One of my favourite horror games has been remade with 4K visuals. The problem is that they've sort of made it 4K, but they haven't improved any of the original actual,
So hang on, Alan Wake Remastered hasn't been remastered.
Well, it's been like upscaled, so it's on the original things.
I don't think that quite has the same ring to it.
No,
Alan Wake
upscaled.
Upscaled.
I don't really know why they did it, because I love the original so much, but they haven't really gone back and changed all the textures to be better.
I think I know why they did it.
Because of money.
Yeah. Yes.
But Mass Effect Legendary is like the opposite end of the scale, where they've redone the facial animations. I'm really disappointed by this. I don't know why they bothered. It's actually making my memories of playing the original a little bit less good. So avoid that one. And Castlevania, we mentioned Metroidvania. So there's Metroid and then there's Castlevania. They've re-released the Castlevania Advance Collection on the Switch. If you smash through Metroid Dread and you want something similar but a bit more old school, you could go for that. There's loads of games included. It's super, super cheap. And it's just my childhood from the Game Boy Advance, but now it's on the Switch.
Busy night, but there's always room for another.
A lot of games this month.
So many games.
A glut.
I don't know how we've managed to fit it all in, to be honest, with the house and the DIY.
It's been a lot going on.
Yes.
We've had... What's been going on? So we've had...
Flexless Blood.
We bought this table with the... It's really... Don't do it that high.
How high does it go?
Actually, I can't see you now, so it's ideal.
Oh, that's not nice. So this table comes from Flesh and Flat.
Oh yeah, it's called FlexiSpot, but when you phone them up and it's their sort of welcome to
Flesh and Flat.
Welcome to FlexiSpot.
So now when I say to Chris, have you found Flesh and Flat?
FlexiSpot. But the problem is that the top of the table came damaged originally, so we got a replacement, but then the replacement arrived and it was also damaged. So now we're waiting for the third replacement top from the... Oh, and he swore then.
How many grey hairs have you got now? Chris is going grey.
I look like Bailey the bunny. I'm fully grey.
He's going on holiday soon, isn't he?
We're going to go away to finally have a break from moving house.
And Bailey's going to his holiday
Rabbit paradise. Crazy lady who loves rabbits, basically.
Yeah.
So he's going away for 2 weeks. We're going away for 2 weeks. But the podcast will be out. We're going to do a Switch OLED special edition for you. So kind of, is it worth paying 50 quid extra for that?
Well, you'll have loads of time to play it on the aeroplane.
On the aeroplane, on the beach. I'll be playing the Switch. You're like, put the Switch down. I'm like, no, I need to...
No, but like, get me a cocktail. Okay.
Once I beat Metroid Dread, I'll be there for you, darling.
Welcome to our lives.
Ants. They're organised, industrious and hungry, but in the Undergrowth there's no such thing as a free lunch. Empires of the Undergrowth is a fast-paced ant colony management game developed by Slug Disco Studios. Underground, you build your nest, construct tunnels and store food. On the surface, your ants claim territory, gather resources and clash with other colonies. Head to thenakedscientist.com/empiresgame for more.